Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Living with Ulcerative Colitis. I'm Maya, and today's video is going to be about 5 autumn food swaps for ulcerative colitis. And I got this video idea from Everyday Health because I read their blog from time to time, and it teaches me a little bit about ulcerative colitis. And for those that don't know, certain seasons can bring certain problems, but also in certain times of the year, if you live in America, there are a lot of holidays on this side of the year. So I think we just call this time of the year the holidays. And it's like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. I think there's Boxing Day for some people. There's a lot of holidays. Day of the Dead. There's a lot of holidays in this long span. So there's some foods that you can't really eat. And that's because during the holiday season, there's a lot of different delicious meals, but some trigger flare-ups, or they're too high in fiber, or they have a large amount of sugar. And basically what large amount of sugar means is that sugar can cause a little bit of inflammation, and it can cause a looser output. For me, that doesn't exactly happen as much with food. It happens more with candy. So during the Halloween type, I'm sorry for any children whose parents are watching this. They're like, oh no, wait, that's not what I meant. It's not my fault. But sometimes too much candy just causes my stomach to get very mad, and it creates a lot of air for me. And as I said, some foods, like complete foods, can cause a lot of air and bloating. And so these food swap ideas are kind of to help with that. So last year around the holiday time, I don't know if it was in December or November, but I did a video that what I substitute for popcorn, because I am a person that loved popcorn. Notice the D. And when I first wasn't able to eat popcorn was because I had braces, and they were going to get stuck. That was the thinking, it would get stuck between my teeth. And then I ended up with ulcerative colitis, and that knocked popcorn completely off of the menu. And it took me a while, but I was able to find an actual good substitute for popcorn, and that is the Popcorners chip. And the reason why the Popcorners chip works is because it doesn't contain a kernel, and it doesn't, the reason why the kernel is not a good idea if you have braces is not a good idea because they get stuck between your teeth. But a kernel is not a good idea when you have a digestive disorder, because it can cause a blockage because they are hard and they don't digest. Normal corn doesn't digest, and that kernel, when hard, definitely doesn't go anywhere. And so the risk is that you can cause a blockage. But the Popcorners chips are a little triangular chip, and they don't cause they don't have the risk of causing a blockage because they don't have a kernel. And they have different flavors. They have kettle corn, sea salt, spicy queso, white cheddar, sour cream, and sweet chili. And we're missing one. They also have a sweet one. And for the holiday last year, I will link this video below. The holiday last year, I basically was like how I build the little Christmas canister that you can buy of popcorn, the white cheddar, the caramel one, and the white cheddar. I said that twice. I think there's a regular one, and then there's sweet, and then there's white cheddar, and I was showing how I did that with the sweet one, which is not listed here, but that's how I did that one. Our next food swap, so our second one, is apple pie to sweet potato pie. And so this is pertaining to me as a person, what I use to swap it, because some people can eat apple pie, apple cobbler, apple like oatmeal just fine as long as the apple is being cooked. For me, I can't eat apple unless it's been cooked, apple anything, unless it's been cooked at least twice. And if you know anything about pie, if it was cooked twice, it's not going to taste good anymore. But I don't have that same reaction with sweet potato pie. And both of these things, though they seem miles apart, what you're probably thinking is, but those aren't the same thing. They aren't. They aren't. I'm not going to lie to you, they are not the same thing. But they both are sweet, and they're both a pie that I enjoy, and it is sweet, it's good, and I get the crust, which I think maybe I'm not the best person to give you substitute for pies, because I like the pie for the crust. Most people like the pie for I like the crust. So I still get my crust, I still get the sweet, I still get because a sweet potato is a vegetable, so I still get that, but it's still sweet, you know, maybe just me, okay. Third is hot chocolate swapped with apple cider. And what you're probably thinking is, but she just said she can't eat apple products unless they're cooked twice. Well, for apple cider, we usually make it at home, and when you make it at home, you can cook it for as long as you like. For my family, we cook it twice, and then we make the cider based on that. And so hot chocolate, the reason why hot chocolate you want to limit it, or if you don't have any problems, then just continue to enjoy your chocolate. But for me, I can only have a certain amount of chocolate in my system before my body realizes that chocolate is indeed a diuretic, which means it will loosen your output. And that is because chocolate contains caffeine. But if you're having sometimes if you have some cocoa powder, to make hot chocolate, it doesn't contain caffeine. If you are able to find that, please link that below. I would like to have some too. But it's usually because of the caffeine that makes it more of a diuretic. And so swapping it is just a quick swap, but if you don't have to do this, admittedly, you don't, but this is pertaining to moi. Our fourth is roasted Brussels sprouts to steamed or blanched or boiled Brussels sprouts. And this is because when you roast Brussels sprouts, they still have a crunch to them. And that crunch is divine, it's delicious, it's amazing, but it's still crunchy. And that means that the Brussels sprout has still retained most of its fibrousness. This is definitely a word. And when it is that fibrous, it is hard for your GI tract to properly digest it. And it takes it longer to digest it, which ends up stalling other processes. And sometimes your body is able to do it and it's good. Most of the time it happens you can eat a lot of stuff that's cooked, and then you eat one thing that is fibrous, and your body is able to, because not that much in comparison to what is already cooked. But on the safe side for me, my family has just adapted to doing a hollandaise type sauce on the Brussels sprouts that we kind of boil, and then we add stuff to them afterwards. So you can add all of the different seasonings and different things that you were going to add it to your roasted just after they've already been cooked. And what I do to make sure they are cooked is I put a fork through them, and if the fork is able to go through, that means I would be able to bite into it and it wouldn't be a crunch. So that's my little hack. And our last one are cheese dishes. And this is for people that have ulcerative colitis, and because they have ulcerative colitis, they're also lactose intolerant. Or perhaps you were lactose intolerant and then you found out you had ulcerative colitis. Before I had my colon removed, I could not eat anything that had dairy in it. I couldn't eat cheese, I couldn't eat milk, I couldn't eat any of it. And I wouldn't exactly call it lactose intolerant, because I had a lot of things I couldn't eat and I didn't know why, because I didn't know what was making my stomach upset, but my body just didn't like it. But when my colon left, I didn't have that problem any longer. I was able to eat cheese. I can eat cheese and nothing happens. In fact, my body actually likes the cheese. But for some people, that is not the case. And a way to swap it is to use non-dairy cheeses on the market. So we are in this My mom, she's the one that made us vegetarian, and before we were vegan, she made us vegetarian, but before we were vegetarian, we were vegan. That's what I meant by that. She said that these cheeses did not exist back in the day, but they do now. So there are the cashew cheeses, the Daiya cheeses. Most stores now have their own brand of non-dairy cheese, and even I remember that that was not always a thing. There used to be like a limited amount of it, and it was pretty good back in the day. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. But now it tastes more like cheese, like what cheese actually tastes like. They're not interchangeable yet, but they taste more like cheese. The thing that I did find out, because my dad is vegan, is that if you add a vegan version of a cream cheese to it, you can get that creaminess back, and the vegan cream cheeses taste more like cream cheese than the vegan cheeses taste like cheese. So if you're making like a dish that has a lot of cheese, I recommend adding your vegan cheese and some cream cheese with it, and it will help get back that cheesiness, that creaminess that you want in your dishes, like your macaroni and vegan cheese, and your or if you're making like mashed potatoes and you need some milk, the milk side of things actually kind of does taste kind of better than some actual forms of milk. So it's not that one that we are concerned about, but like the butter, the cheese, those have all improved significantly. So I do recommend that if you can't digest cheese, do try those. It's a good food swap. And so with this video, I'm hoping that, like me, that have a GI disorder, it doesn't have to be ulcerative colitis, it doesn't have to be Crohn's, but you have a digestive disorder, or your body just chooses and picks and chooses what foods that it wants to digest and it doesn't. I hope this video is helpful to you. I hope that you guys have a great holiday season of all the delicious meals that you can eat, and I hope that everyone gets through without any stomach problems. So I hope this video was helpful. Please like, share, subscribe, and press the bell for notifications. Bye guys!